Well, hello, everyone. I hope you're having a great week. This episode is a little different from anything we've done because we're going to be talking about a book that is different from anything else that my brand has published. First of all, I want to welcome everybody in the live chat. We've got Jonathan. Boy, these letters get smaller. Jonathan Raced. Hello, Jonathan. D. Dorothy's here. Jackpot. Billy W. Johnnicide. R.E. Bavel is here. Flying Brian Myers is here. He's got to go to dinner. I hope you're having something good. You're going to get steak, maybe some Indian food. Get something good. And Renee is here also. So tonight's guest, this is going to be kind of a shorter episode. Because we're going to get right to the point. Tonight's guest is a guy that we met about, I think it was a year and a half ago. And he is a local figure here in the area that we live, in the San Bernardino Valley. And I was introduced to him through a longtime friend of one of my sisters, a guy who's, he spent a career in, I think he was involved in corrections or probation, or I'm getting it wrong, but he was, a badge carrier. And he told me about this gentleman who was really just so well liked by the community because of, the service he gives back to Highland, California. And so I went to talk to him and instantly liked him. You talk about charm. This guy's got a lot of it. And he's a really good soul. And I'm gonna let him, when he gets here, tell you his story in his own words. But he's such an interesting guy. Hold on a second. I'm getting a call from him. Hey, did you get the link? Have you tried it through the email or just the phone link? Yeah. Try the email. Yeah. I'm on live right now, so. Well, iOS does not support this. Okay. Yeah, that's StreamYard. And you're not in front of a computer, is what you're saying. Right. Okay. Well, if we can't make it happen tonight, you want to do it tomorrow night? Well, we'll do a tutorial with you tomorrow to make sure. Yeah.
He should be able to enter through his phone, though.
Wait, what, Tony?
Sorry. Hello, everybody. We'll work out.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Issues.
Do it tomorrow night. We can reschedule to tomorrow night. If you can download the app, yeah, that would be, yeah. Yeah, if you can just get the app, and now if that's something that'll just take you a couple minutes, try it right now, and I'll kill some time here, and okay, all right. Well, folks, that's Tony trying to trying to reach us. He's trying to join us, having a little technical difficulty, but he's an interesting guy, and we went to meet him. Malia was with me, and what it was is that as part of his reach out to the community to really expand the effectiveness of the philanthropic organization that he founded and runs, which you're going to hear more about. He wrote his life story, his autobiography. Kind of jotted it down in kind of a short form, and we immediately agreed that boy, this is a story that we want to get out there. This is a guy who had kind of a rough go of it, from his childhood, and it kind of led him down the wrong path. And through an unexpected miracle, you might say, he had an opportunity to turn things around. And he did that. Boy, did he do that. And he started it through boxing. Okay. And, again, like I said, when he gets here, I'm going to let him tell his basic story to you. But through his boxing club, he's able to give local youth, an alternative to getting in trouble, an alternative to going down the wrong path. And let me tell you, we've been to several of his events, community events, and this man is really beloved in his community. And Malia and I went to the toy drive. Here he is. I'm going to be bringing him on screen here in a moment. And we're talking, there was a line of folks with their kids that was like a mile long, going way down the street. And it's just, he's just a truly great guy. And we have published, my label has published that autobiography, his book, and we're going to be doing a big release event. Well, he was there for a moment. We're going to be doing a big book release event and a signing a week from tomorrow. It's going to be on November 16th here in Highland, California, in San Bernardino Valley. It's open to the public. I guarantee you there's going to be a crowd, because this man draws a big crowd every time he has an event. They love him here. And there's going to be a classic car show. There's going to be food. There's going to be music. There's going to be boxing matches. And Tony's going to be signing his book. So, folks, without further delay, I'm going to bring Tony Collins Cifuentes onto the stage with me. Hey, Tony.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good. How are you today?
I'm blessed, having a remarkable day today.
Oh, so excellent. Excellent.
Good.
Very good. Very good. Well, I was just kind of telling, the viewers here, our regulars in the live chat, and our viewers, that, we met about, what was it, a year and a half ago, right?
Yeah, almost 2 years.
That. Yeah,
2 years.
And how, just kind of the basics of your story, and that we published your autobiography. But how about you kind of tell just kind of a summary of your story, of your beginnings, and how your life led to where you are now.
Sure. So it all started. Like I said, I was born in Los Angeles, but I was raised here in the Inland Empire, and the story starts before that, and basically had a rough upbringing, and most kids that are either in a rough neighborhood or grew up with in a dysfunctional family, most of them end up either incarcerated or just growing up in bad situations. But I was able to turn something bad into good, and that's why the book is called There Are No Losses, Only Lessons. And it talks about my memoirs, my life story, and my journey, and my conviction that I have within, this phone is going to keep dropping. Okay, I got it. Within the the parameters of my life. So it's been a journey trying to get this book out there and published until I met you almost 2 years ago. But like I said, it took me almost 8 years because I've been really busy with all our social services, with the community, and everything that I do within our organization. But a little bit about the book. It talks about me being incarcerated for attempted murder at 18 years old and fighting a life consecutive sentence, which I was involved, but I didn't commit. And that's not only some of the things it talks about. It talks about basically being in a dysfunctional home and with an absent father, of course. And when he was there, most of the time he would just drink and pretty much put hands on us. And having also coming from a dysfunctional family, and also having a mother that was in that of a great mother. So there's a lot of turnarounds and a lot of points where it gets super bad. And it starts talking about my life, about my background, and how I started getting in trouble, and just a journey from like it says in the book, one man's journey from violence to faith. And I think that was something that really resonated with me, as far as my faith and my conviction, and really wanted to change my life and serve others, because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. It's all about serving others,
Yeah.
and trying to change people's life. And going through this path when I was young, I didn't really want to serve others. I just wanted to fight, hang out, drive a fast car, and just what every young guy wants to do, and hang out with women. But at the time, I didn't know that wasn't my golden plate. God had bigger and better things for me. But at that moment, I didn't understand that, because of poverty. Poverty is a real thing. And when you're in poverty, you just want new clothes. You want to, drive a nice car, and
Sure.
you want to be able to do things that everyone else is doing, the absent things like having a mother, a father, even having people that support you and love you. But that wasn't the case with my life. And until I found God, and I was able to really understand what his love was all about and how he changed my heart, then I truly understand that this life of mine, it's not about me. It's not about this story. It's more about what he has done in my life. And that's why I want to share the story, to show the world the talents that he's given me. And it's been a rough life. Like I said, I didn't have a childhood. I couldn't enjoy my childhood because I had to grow up quick, and I was incarcerated for most of my youth life. But through this journey, I have learned a lot. I have learned that I guess God has to basically make you go through some rough patches in order for you to find your true calling. And I truly believe that for me, service and leadership is one of the biggest honors that God has given me. So if I'm going to be a leader, it's obvious that I want to be the best leader I can be and serve to my full potential, and help kids throughout the world. And I think with this book here, I know that this book is really going to change lives, especially with kids that are just as involved youth, and it already is, because we have this book already in the juvenile hall. And also it's going to be in some of the continuation schools. But I truly believe this book can inspire anyone, whether a young man, an older person, or a mature person, or a person that's in some type of profession. This book is for everyone. It's not just
Yes.
for certain
Right.
people. But I truly believe that this book is very inspirational, and it can help anyone through their dry patches, and
Yeah.
what they're going
Absolutely.
through,
Absolutely. Now, your
Yeah.
father was from Guatemala, correct?
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. And he immigrated here, And you know, like you say, you grew up in Los Angeles, and the book tells some very you know, illuminating things about your childhood.
Yes.
You know, the things that certainly are it's not always good, you know, really for anyone. You had you know, a little bit more rough than a lot of others, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that led to your environment, I think, you know, kind of showed you a particular path that you know, was easy for you to take then.
Sure.
And you know, one thing that's interesting about you know, and this is a side thing which, you know, my audience will learn down the road a little ways, and that is your father. He came from wealth, right? He
Yeah.
came from uh,
Absolutely.
a fortunate background.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting, folks, my regular audience, you'll find this real interesting to know. Malia and I have been given the privilege to see the land deed and the map of the estate that his father came from, and there's some serious overlap with a gentleman I've written about and talked about much, and that's Juan Cabrillo. And we'll be talking about that in the future. We'll be talking about it with Tony and stuff as well. But his father came from, you know, good fortune down in Guatemala. His path up here didn't quite go smoothly, and that certainly had its impact on Tony's life. And you know, in this book, you know, Tony tells this story, and it's pretty vivid what you know, what you experienced, Tony, you know, in your childhood. But let's see,
Yeah.
there we, yeah, and you found boxing at one point in your life, the sport of boxing. Uh, Tell us more about that.
Can you see me? I could
Can't
barely.
see you, but we can hear you. There you. Oops, there you are.
Okay.
There you are.
Yeah.
So yeah, you found
That's where
boxing,
this
the sport of
connection.
boxing, and that really
Yeah.
helped you get on this new path.
Yeah. So for me, what really changed my life and really gave me that direction and that I guess calling was, you know, I've always been really good at fighting, and of course I was violent, you know, very
Yeah,
violent.
yeah,
You know, that's all that, you know, in these streets, that's all that teaches you. And especially my dad being a very abusive parent, he was very violent. And, you know, when you're around that, that's what you become. You become what you see and what you hear and what you do. And so for me, I thought, you know, hey, this would be perfect. You know, I get to beat people up and maybe do something with it or change
sure.
my life somehow, you know. But more than anything, you know, it didn't work out that way. I went to the first facility,
Hmm.
which is here in San Bernardino, and it was funny because it was very structured, and you know, it was like building blocks. You know, you first had to do a certain amount of things to then move up to the next. You know, you have to run a certain time. You have to. So it was very structured, and I didn't have that. You know, I didn't have the structure. I had the talent, right? I had the
Hmm.
ability, the work ethic, and I didn't have the structure. And for me, that's something that really resonates with me, and that's why I respect boxing very highly. And I put that at a pedestal because without boxing, right, I don't think that I would either be alive or be able in a position that I am now. Even though we have, like I said, we have all our social services, our boxing team, our school, our all of our social emotional learning aspects that we do with the kids and all the programs. But that's why boxing for me, I hold that at a certain standard because if it
Hmm.
wasn't for boxing, I wouldn't have had that discipline, and I think I would have gotten more in trouble and
Sure.
you know ended up doing more time, you know. So I went in there and I said, you know what, I'll spar with anybody and I'll do this. Thought I was very cocky, but the whole thing is, right, you getting mad and being cocky, that doesn't mean that you're going to be
Right.
effective at your skill. And I
Right.
got in some little guy and he whipped me bad, and I said, wait a minute, I'm 2 times bigger than this guy. What happened? I thought I knew how. I did, you know, I had some formal training, but not real training. So then
Right.
that made me upset because my thing, because of my trauma that I had and everything I seen. I was like, wait a minute, I got to get back at this guy. And I only knew how to do that one thing. And I said, okay, well, if I'm really going to do this, I have to really start to learn and try to see, how do I achieve that? Well, how do I achieve that? I become disciplined. I show up more. I start training harder. I start reading books. I start watching, right? Because my dad trained me when I was a little kid, but not the efficient training that I needed as a young man, as a teenager, you know?
Right.
So I started going back. I would see a lot of guys, right, my age go spar, but then they would never come back. And I would notice that I'm the only guy that's showing up, that's getting whooped on and keeps showing up. And I said, you know what? That, at least that's something. It might not be a smart trait, but that means, you know, I didn't have any quit in me. And guess what? At a time, I started whipping it on everybody in that gym.
There you go.
Better. And then I started sparring other places, and I started competing, and then I started whipping it. But the thing that really held me back was that I wasn't able to decipher from, I wanted to be the champion in the street and the champion in the ring. And you can't do that. You know, you got to focus on one thing. And that's one thing that the coaches couldn't get out of me, you know, and that's a fortunate downfall that I had, that I just couldn't settle down and listen, you know, and I wish I would have, because then I would have went probably super far. You know, I had the height, the strength, and I was very talented, but I had a lot of anger in me, you know, and I couldn't hone it. And but the one thing that really stood in my mind was I kept coming and getting whooped and taking lickings, and I was the only guy that would show back up. And I said, I didn't understand that. And that's one thing that one of the trainers taught me. He said, you know what, Tony, I can teach you the jab. I can teach you, you know, 1 + 1. I can teach you how to talk, how to act, how even give you the discipline. One thing I can't give you is the heart. He's all, you already have that. So
there you go.
Now we got to work on everything else. And if we put that together, you'll be unstoppable. But I couldn't, you know, I couldn't put it together. I wanted to be the champion of the streets. And it for me, it was just so attractive, you know, getting in fights, carrying a gun, you know, hurting people, robbing people, doing crazy things that now I even talk about it now. It's very scary, you know.
Sure.
But back then it was like, I felt like I was Superman, you know. It was like, I was unstoppable, but I wasn't.
Yeah, that's youth. You know, here at my channel, the usual kind of thing we talk about, as you know, are, you know, the mysteries, the strange, you know, the you know, paranormal things and stuff like that. And I'm a great believer in synchronicity. And what I find interesting about our association is I'm in one Hollywood movie. One Hollywood movie, folks. Go out there, look for it. You'll see me. In the mid-'80s, Clint Eastwood came to town and filmed a sequence in the movie he did with Burt Reynolds called City Heat. And it takes place in the 30s, the 20s, I think, the 1920s. And they filmed a boxing match scene that I think is early in the film.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
And there used to be this old boxing arena in downtown San Bernardino. It was right down the railroad track from where my dad's business was. And I'm in that scene. Now, I've never been a guy into boxing as a sport. My dad liked it. But the one thing I'm in Hollywood is this boxing match scene. You can see me, look for me. I'm in the crowd there near the ring wearing a gray suit, black tie, and a black fedora. So, and I've always, you know, had that and told people, yeah, I'm in the boxing match scene. Well, then a couple of years later, the man who was my mentor, well, actually, he was already kind of mentoring me at that time, but that man, an uncle of mine, who my viewers hear me talk about all the time, he got my professional career started. He was a boxer in the Army. He was a Golden Gloves champion during the Army. So, you know, then years pass and I'm introduced to you, and your story just instantly I see, oh my gosh, yeah, Tony, we got to get your story out there. Yeah. You're a boxer. And I do believe in, you know, synchronicity being a meaningful coincidence. I really take my being in that scene, in that movie, the boxing match scene, and my uncle being a boxer. I just think looking back on it, it's no surprise that our paths crossed. And, you know, here we are. And, you know, of all the things I publish, this is one of the things I'm most proud of, this book, because it's not just, you know, an adventure story. It's not just another one of my, you know, weird musings about stuff. This is a book about a real person. You know, I've written stuff, you know, about people I write stuff about people who've really lived, historical figures. But what's important about this book is you are a person who is in my community, in this valley, and you know, the things you're doing for your community. I was telling them before you came on, the line of people that show up for your events, the crowds, and the handing out the Christmas gifts last year, and we look forward to that again this year. I was telling them about just the line for like a mile, it seemed like, of the families showing up.
3 miles around the corner. Yeah.
And you're a real life local hero, and you know, and that's what this book, I think, you know, kind of introduces you, and you know, you still have a lot.
We were talking about that too, because I was talking to an educator, and he read through the book, and he said, "Man, this is powerful. This is amazing." He's like, "I had my wife read it, I had my uncles look at it. They're like, they just know that this could be a real movie and a documentary, because it's not just boxing. It's bigger than that. It's a life story as a dialogue. It's you know, it gets, once you pick it up, once you start reading it, forget about it. You're going to keep reading it, you know, and that's what everybody's telling me, like, hey, man, Tony, this is amazing, you know, and it's cool because you could read it within a day or you could stop. But, you know, the guys, even the young kids, you know, it's a very gratifying thing to be able to be in the institutions, right? And seeing these kids that you just like them, they're wearing their suits, they're locked up, but to get their synapses going, and for them to read my book, man, that really hit home hard. You know, I had to stand back and say, wow, I can't believe everything that God has shown me, everything that God has shown me the vision, it's manifested. And I already knew this was going to happen. It was just a moment of time, but to actually see it in those interviews, and then people say, hey, we want to buy some more books, and we want this, and we want you to come out and do a speaking engagement. It's crazy, you know, and that's the power of God. And now I'm just waiting for the next adventure, you know, and it's just seeing those kids in those jumpsuits in the institution read my book. It you know, it almost got me into tears, and that's a beautiful thing.
I imagine it would, because, you know, this is your story that you're telling in this. And, you know, anytime that you see where you could be an influence to, even if it's just one, you know, even if it's just one person, one young guy who, you know, is inspired by you and your story, it's all worth it. It's all worth it. But, you know, you've influenced so many, you know, young folks before this book. And, you know, I think with the book, with telling your story, you're going to have a pretty wide reach, and we're working on it being even wider, folks, because we're working on this being a movie. So you know, you'll be hearing me talk about that continually. So
Spanish, English, hardcover.
Thank you for mentioning that. The Spanish edition is being worked on as we speak. So it's going to be out there in Spanish. It will be out there in hardcover. And, you know, it's if you guys like how you know, my regulars here, you guys like how I write about historical figures, this true stuff, these extraordinary stories. Well, you know what? This is just as important as anyone else I've written about. Okay. This story here. And because Tony is truly, you know, a local guy who, like I said, is just loved by the community. Now we have an event. Well, you have a big event. We're part of it because it's the release event of the book. Tell us about that. It's a week from tomorrow.
Yeah. So Saturday, November the 16th, it's the big event. You know, it's we've done this. We've done this already for almost 20 years. But as far as the event, it's the 7th annual Community Champions Veterans Boxing event where we honor all our veterans, our public safety officers. There's a fair, there's a car show. It'll be on Telemundo. Most people come out. I mean, it's just a big community get together. And on that day, I'll be having my launch and my book signing launch that day. So if anyone's interested in stopping by, getting a book, getting a signature, there'll be merch. It's a beautiful day to give back, you know. And like I said, all these books, we're really trying to fight illiteracy here, you know, and we can have people by doing that, by purchasing the book. The books that you purchase are going to be donated to justice involved youth, you know, kids that are in just involved youth and programs. So it's like, it's a win-win situation. You know, you guys are opening up your pockets, but it's really going back to a greater cause and for a good cause. You know, it's for just involved youth. So we're trying to get the message out there for the kids. So we would love for everybody to buy a book, come out, you know, meet me. I would love to talk to you and talk to everyone, show up, you know, inspire who is from this community. You know, I think that all together we could do some amazing stuff. So yeah, it's going to be a big event. It starts at doors open at 10 o'clock, and it's from 10 in the morning all the way 6:30 p.m. There's going to be over 30 fights. There's going to be over 500 cars, you name it, community workshops, educational booths. So it's for everybody. There's something there that everyone's going to want to do. You know, it's not just the book. It's a big community event. So come on out. You know, we would love to have you, you know?
Yes. I'll tell you folks, Tony's events they're awesome. They're a lot of fun, and the turnout is always incredible. You know, he's so, like I said, well loved in this community. Tell us a little bit about the Highlanders Boxing Club, because you do a lot of your work through that.
Yeah, so the Highlanders Boxing Club was established in 2005. And like I said, you know, we just wanted a program to actually teach athletics and get kids off the street.
Yeah.
But come to find out that these kids, like anybody else, they started growing. They needed jobs. They're like, hey, coach, you know what? I need a job now. I'm having a kid. I need money. And I said, man, what are we going to do now? And that's when I said, hey, you know what? God gave me the vision of starting social and emotional learning and other programs, you know. So we opened up a school, an accredited school. Now we do workforce development programs. We also have we have other programs tying with other needs they have. So let's just say they need to get a job, they need a part-time work. We also do that too. So there's a lot of programs that we offer. So we became bigger than just boxing. You know, we became basically a social entity in this community of a bunch of stakeholders coming and just helping kids. So it's bigger now, you know, and now we offer jobs. We have a lot of social services in place. We have a lot of events for the community. It's just so much stuff we do. You know, now we're bigger, much more bigger than boxing, you know, and that's something that now it's overwhelming, but it's a good kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
And
well,
so much in the community.
Yeah. You talk about structure and discipline, folks. Every time Malia and I go over to see Tony at the club, when the kids are there, the young folks are there, they stop what they're doing. They walk up and they give you a little fist bump, or they shake your hand and they welcome you and say hello. And every one of them, and it's this courtesy. And then when you leave, they say goodbye to you, and you know, it's little things like that really lend to, as you say, this structure. You know, just those basic human niceties, and little things like that can really positively influence a child's outlook, a young person's outlook in life. It helps them treat others with respect, right? And see them as worthy of respect. And it's just a simple little thing, but it is noticeable, you know.
Sure is.
So, yeah. So you planning on keeping the boxing club in that location for now?
Well, like I said, remember we talked about the Tabernacle Ranch. So that's one.
Yep.
We have 30 acres. Like I said, we do environmental justice programs. We also conservation. We do so much, it's not just boxing. We have all programs that are tied in. And that's something right there that's our next move. So that's something that we're working on. But we definitely want to keep this. This is going to be one day like a museum where people could come in and see what a local person did it with the community, but as far as we just got right now. So now there's one in Indio, right? That used to be a charter school, and now we had to get our program off of there. But now we're going to open up another program within a school. So it's going to be the first school that actually has a program not only in athletics, but it's also going to do all this other social services, and that'll be in D Street. So now that's 4 sites, plus the Tabernacle Ranch, where we're doing, basically we're going to be doing hiking. We're going to be doing environmental work there. We're going to be planting trees. After we're done planting the trees, we're going to donate them in the community so people could actually plant trees and try to save also the environment. And then we're also going to be doing trails. There's so much stuff that we're working on. It's just
great
because of the book and this big event. I had to kind of not put everything in pause, but just kind of focus more on this. But once after this, we're going to continue with the ministry and all the other stuff we're doing. So for sure.
Great. Well, folks, that in my Empire of the Wheel series, I've written about the history of the San Bernardino Valley and what a garden spot it once was. And as things happen through the 20th century, through various turns and such, this valley has had its ups and downs, but there are people in the last 20 years who have been doing things to really kind of bring it back up to that level it used to be, that luster. And I got to tell you, folks, Tony is one of those people who's doing his part, to do that. And it starts with the people. Once the people have pride of place, then anything's possible, really. And Tony, that's how I see you're contributing to making the San Bernardino Valley, the Greater Valley, a better place, because you care about your community. And you even took on Amazon. Amazon right now, folks, is buying up all the property where Tony's Boxing Club is down where you've heard me talk about the old Air Force Base, Norton Air Force Base, and it's now San Bernardino International Airport. But Amazon has just bought up a bunch of the property, and we have these gigantic Amazon warehouses, and they wanted the stretch of land where Tony's club is, and he stood up to them and has won so far. And I think they gave up, right?
Yeah, so far, like I said, these guys that have all this big money and all that, but like I said, we're the small resistant. We're small, but we're mighty, and that was something that the program and the family and the community came together, not to stop it, but just to say, hey, what? We're doing something amazing here. I know what you guys are doing amazing too, but let's always look at what's going on with the kids, and
exactly.
It's going to be the betterment of our kids' futures, right? Not only mentally, but physically, but it goes back to social and emotional learning. These kids got to have pride in something. They have to look up to something, and they have to have a home, where they're safe, and I truly believe that we are that light where there is darkness, and that's
there
where
you go.
These kids
and they certainly look up to you, and I'm sure their parents are very appreciative of what you're offering from them. So we look forward to having you back here and talking about a lot of things, not the least of which is Guatemala. We want to get you on here and talk about Guatemala and such. But tell everybody where they can learn about the Highlanders Boxing Club, and they know where they can get the book, and we'll be pushing that out there.
They could follow us. You could either Google Highlanders Boxing Club, or you could go to our website, www.highlandersboxingclub.org, or you could follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, and also on TikTok, Highlanders Boxing Club. And then for the website is already live. It's in the World Web, but it's actually going to be live on November the 15th, which is Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. So you can get the books there. You could get them at the event. It'll be linked up and all that. But you can follow us at Highlanders Boxing Club, and it'll give you our history, our services, what we're doing in the community, how you can help out and donate your time, donate monetary, however you want. Actually, the big thing is trying to push these books. We would love for people to buy as many books as possible so we could donate it to schools, to private institutions for kids, and fight illiteracy together, because I think that's a big thing too in our community. Education, powerful thing. So if everybody would just buy a couple books and donate that to some kids, that would be amazing. So
that'd be fantastic. Well, Malia and I, of course, are going to be there for the big event a week from tomorrow, and we're going to be jumping on and live streaming, folks. So if you want to see the kind of turnout and how big this event's going to be, watch the channel. Watch for the channel.
Like they say, tune in.
That's right. Tune in, log on, tune in, and you'll see what we're talking about and see how big these events are. And Tony, I want to thank you for coming on. And we are really, really looking forward to the event and the book release, and most importantly, to see that, to be part of the impact this book is going to have in the lives of young people who need this kind of influence. This is probably the most important book that my brand has published. I can tell you that right now. So, because of the impact it'll have, and I'm glad that Dan, our friend Dan, introduced us, and
be there with a bunch of his friends. He's gonna be judging all the car shows. So bring out your cars. Anybody has a car, bring it out, have some fun, buy some books, watch some boxing matches, eat some good food. It's going to be amazing. I want to see everyone there from the community. Come on out. Come and support all the good, amazing things that we're doing for this at-risk youth community.
Yeah, Amen. It's important.
Absolutely. It's important.
It's important work. And any of you viewers that here, members in the live chat or anyone watching the channel, if you're within, reasonable driving distance of the San Bernardino Valley, November 16th, come on out. We're going to be putting the address and the time and everything so that it's easy to find. But any folks here at the Walter Bosley channel who are subscribers, viewers, come on out to this event. You'll be glad you did. And we'll look forward to seeing you there. And again, get a book because it goes to it's going to go to a good cause. And Tony, thank you so much again.
Thank you, Walter. I appreciate you. Thank you for being part of this family and pushing forward, man. I can't wait. I can't wait to go bigger. All right.
Yeah, and we are. It's going to be real big. So we'll talk. All righty.
Thank you. You have a good night. Bye.
Okay, you too. Okay, folks, there you go. That's Tony, this really great guy. I've been telling you about him. And he was being a little modest tonight. This guy's got he's got some real charm. And it's been a long week for him, a long day for him. And I really appreciate him taking the time out to, get out here and talk about this, this incredible story of his life. And we're not kidding. Malia and I are not kidding. We're going to have him on to talk about the Guatemala property that, is of his dad's family's estate. It's real interesting. They've owned that property since the 1890s, and it's fascinating. So again, if you can make it, if you live in Southern California, reasonable, driving distance, say within an hour, it'll be worth your time. And worth your time, the energy you'll get. Like he said, they have like street tacos and food and the music and the car show. I'm looking forward to the classic cars because you guys know I build model kits. So you'll see it. If you can't make it, you'll see it here. But if you're close enough to drive here and want to check it out and do something fun next Saturday, by all means, come on out. Okay, and come on out, and I think you'll enjoy it. So again, go to walterbosley.com in the shop and you can find the book there. And we'll also be posting the address of the event. And anyway, I want to thank you all, folks in the live chat, for being here. I want to thank all of you who see this for watching it. And, thanks again. And you guys have a good night. And we'll be seeing you definitely on the regular episode day. So have a good night. Have a good weekend. And we'll see you soon.